Hello guys, hope you're all doing well as always and welcome back to another Premier League predictions video. It's been another great and unpredictable game week, but first I do just want to say thank you so much to everyone who keeps coming back for these videos. It genuinely means a hell of a lot to me. The past couple of weeks we've got around 150 views, which is brilliant. It doesn't sound like a lot, but to me it's brilliant. As I said, I'm trying to grow this channel, so if you have come back, if this is your first time watching, please smash that like button. Don't just click it, smash it. And if you're new to the channel as well, don't just click the subscribe button, smash it. Because I really want to try and get to 500 subscribers by the end of the month. This weekend, me and my dad are going to the Cambridge match, so that hopefully should be a good vlog. Hopefully rake in a few more subscribers as well. I'm certainly looking forward to it. But before anything, guys, let's get into the comments from last video. Quick shout out to Balam and Reason Juma, who both commented on the video last time out. You got 12 points, which isn't quite good enough to get into the leaderboard yet. At this point, I'm just looking for 15 points and above, but 12 points each is a very, very good score. Farah Tablet, on the other hand, you got 17 points. You had a very, very good week. You correctly predicted 4 results and you even managed to get 1 correct score, which is brilliant. It's very good. And you are now joint 5th in the leaderboard with Dayam Alahi on 17 points. Remember, guys, there will be a prize for whoever tops this leaderboard at the end of the season. I haven't thought of anything yet. Been quite busy with uni and stuff, but we've still got a long way to go in the season and a lot of time for me to think of a decent prize. So get commenting. Moving on to my predictions now, and me and Farah actually both got the same score. We both got 4 correct results and 1 correct score. I was a little bit saved by the Spurs game at the end because it could have been a fairly disappointing score, so predicting the right result there was big for me last week. Still not good enough to beat my best score though, so hopefully this week will be different. The first game that we're going to be focusing on is the early kickoff on Saturday, and it's West Ham at home to my team Chelsea. Oh, it's an English shirt. Despite not picking up a win in the last 5 games, West Ham still find themselves in the Champions League places in 4th, which is still very, very impressive. They picked up some great results this season, but their poor form finds them now coming up against a very informed Chelsea side. Chelsea, on the other hand, didn't look great against Watford. Obviously, there was a medical emergency, which did delay the game halfway through the first half. I haven't heard any updates on how he's doing, but obviously I hope he's doing well. Focusing back on the football, however, as I said, Chelsea didn't look that convincing against Watford, and it was a very well-earned 3 points. Watford posed a very good threat, and Chelsea were ultimately sort of lucky to get the 3 points. However, when you're going for the Premier League, a lot of what you find with the eventual Premier League champions is they are very good at picking up these results. It could have potentially been a draw, and they managed to find the 3 points from somewhere, which holds them in great stead for the rest of the season. Romelu Lukaku is back, but he's not quite up to match fitness, so I don't expect him to start, but he may very well make another appearance off the bench. And West Ham will be trying to get something out of this London derby to recapture their best form. Whilst West Ham do definitely provide a threat for Chelsea, a bit like Watford, I can't see them beating us, especially with the form that they've been showing in the last few games. They haven't looked convincing in any of those fixtures. Unlucky, obviously, to draw against Brighton in the last game, but they weren't clinical enough to see out the game, which is why I think Chelsea will win this one fairly comfortably. And I'm going to go for a 2-0 win. To Chelsea, that is, if that wasn't clear. Up next, we're going to St James's Park, and we find a relegation 6-pointer is our main talking point next. Newcastle at home to Burnley, and this is a huge game, as I say, for that relegation battle. Both sides have picked up 7 draws this season, Burnley picking up 1 win, and Newcastle still, at this point of the season, yet to pick up their first win. Since Eddie Howe's come in, Newcastle have had a new lease of life breathed into them, and they do look a better side. They're more structured than they were with Steve Bruce, and they go forward with a lot more attacking intent, and look like they could potentially get something out of their last few games. Burnley, on the other hand, have also looked very good. They're going a bit more out there, a little bit more attacking, although saying that, they did draw their last game 0-0 with Wolves, which I think is a good result considering how good of a team Wolves can be on their day. I find this one very difficult to predict because I do think that Newcastle again could get the home advantage, but then I said that last week and they ended up drawing. I'm going to back them again this week though, and I do think that they will finally get their first win of the season. It's not going to be pretty, but when you're in a relegation battle so early on, it's not going to be pretty. But I am going to go for a Newcastle win, and it is going to be a 1-0 win to Newcastle. It's going to be a game of very fine margins. Up next, we've got the South Coast Derby, or the A25 Derby, or the M25 Derby. What a shit name for a derby. By the way, we've got Southampton against Brighton, and this should be a very closely fought fixture. When I say a derby, it's not quite one of the same significance of your North London derby or your Manchester derby. There's no real rivalry between these two teams apart from their geography. But as two teams who have slightly dwindled off a little bit in their last few games, there'll be plenty to play for in this fixture for both teams. Southampton find themselves in 16th place while Brighton are in 9th. Brighton obviously had a very good start to the season, and as I said, they have dwindled off a bit. They have not won in their last 5 games, which is is a record that Graham Potter is really going to want to put an end to. Southampton, on the other hand, have had the ability to upset here and there. They've only picked up 3 wins this season, but they've also lost 5 games. Neil Maupay, I think that's how you pronounce his name. I never know how to pronounce his name. Anyway, Neil Maupay is the leading goal scorer of these two sides with 5 goals. He scored an emphatic overhead kick against West Ham to secure them a point in their last game. Will he be able to make the difference in this game? I'm not so sure, because he also missed a hatful of chances and he hasn't quite got his shooting boots, which, as I said in the last Premier League predictions video, is the story of Brighton's season. I can't see there being loads of goals in this one, but I do think it is going to be another very close fixture. For that reason, I am going to go for a 1-1 draw in this game. Up next, we take a trip to the Molineux. It's Wolves at home to Liverpool. One team in pretty good form in Wolves and the other in exceptional form in Liverpool. A team who have scored 12 goals in their last 3 games, which is just incredible. Mohamed Salah is the current leading goal scorer in the Premier League at the moment with 13 goals, and he's a pretty safe bet for your fantasy football captains, let's put it that way. With that being said, however, Wolves have not conceded a goal in their last 3 games, which for a team that were quite leaky at the beginning of the season is a very good record for them to have. On average, both teams concede 0.86 goals per game, which is very impressive comparing Wolves to Liverpool in that record. However, Wolves really need to improve on that 0.86 goals scored per game as well if they want to be challenging higher up the table. With that being said, however, they are in 8th place, which is a great position for them to be in this stage of the season, especially when you consider some of the talent that are above them in the league table. When all said and done, I think there's only one way that this game is going to go, and I do think that is going to be another Liverpool win. It's going to be fairly big as well. I can't see them being stopped at the moment. They're just scoring for fun at the moment. So for that reason, I do think that this game is going to be a 3-0 win to Liverpool. Wolves have certainly got the quality in their squad to pull off an upset here, but I don't think that they will with how poor their attacking has been this season. However, with how good their defensive side has been this season, up against a great attack like Liverpool, it's going to be interesting to see whether they could potentially even nick a point in this game. Up next, we've got Watford at home to Manchester City, and this should be a much closer game than I think a lot of people will be expecting. We've seen Watford in their last 4 games give the likes of Chelsea, Leicester, Arsenal and Manchester United a run for their money, even managing to beat Manchester United in that run. But Manchester City is a different breed when it comes to these kind of fixtures. They're so relentless against the respectively smaller sides. Manchester City have only dropped points in 4 games this season, drawing 2 and losing 2 as well, and find themselves trailing Chelsea by just 1 point in the title race at this stage of the season. The last time that Watford beat Manchester City was in 1989 in the old League Division 2. So if they could manage to pull off a result in this game, that would be an incredible feat. Great bit of stats there, Sam. Great bit of stats. Emmanuel Dennis finds himself on 6 goals at the moment, so he's a great cheap shout for your fantasy football teams. Probably shouldn't have said that because I'm not doing very well in the league amongst my mates, so if any of them watch this and get Emmanuel Dennis, do one. But Josh King and Ismail Assar also have 5 goals, which leads to the top of the charts between these two sides. Despite all their goal scoring options, however, I do still think that they are going to come up short against Manchester City. They are just too good of a team, and I don't think that they're going to drop points in this fixture. So for that reason, I am going to go for a Manchester City win, and I don't think it's actually going to be easy for them. I think this is going to be a very close game, and I think they're going to just about win. I'm going to go for a 3-1 win, which sounds more comfortable than I think it is going to be. As I said, I think it's going to be a very tight game and could even potentially be a draw, but who knows, we'll have to wait and see. That's my prediction. Comment yours down below if you haven't already. Up next now, we're going to Ellen Road, and this is a game I've been looking forward to all season. It's Leeds at home to Brentford. The Leeds of, well, last season because they're Leeds, and the Leeds of this season in Brentford. This is going to be an exciting fixture between these two sides. So much attacking quality in these two teams, I don't know where to start. Ivan Toney and Mbeumo had a fairly quiet outing against Tottenham. However, they've looked very, very impressive this season going forward. And as for Leeds, they haven't been picking up the results to really warrant a place in the Premier League at the moment. And after this, they've got such a tricky run of fixtures, facing the likes of City, Liverpool, Chelsea. It's going to be ruthless. So this game, they have to pick up points if they want to stand in a good place come the end of that poor run of games. Leeds managed to pick up their first win in just over a month with that 1-0 win over Crystal Palace, and over the 90 minutes they did look the better side. The last time that these two sides met was in 2019 in the Championship, and both of those games were very, very tight. Leeds won the first game of that season 1-0 and drew the second 1-1, so not as many goals as you would have thought for two very attacking teams, but nevertheless two very close spectacles, which is exactly what I'm expecting in this game. As I said, this is going to be a very, very tight fixture, and I do think that it's going to be difficult to pick these two teams apart. I am going to go for Leeds to just about edge it in this game, which might be a little controversial. I didn't back them last week, and they did manage to win, so this week I am going to back them. And I think that they're just about going to edge this fixture 2-1. But as I said, this is going to be a game to watch, one that you're certainly not going to want to miss out on. The next Sunday game that we're focusing on is Manchester United at home to Crystal Palace. Manchester United obviously just beating Arsenal 3-2 with that late Ronaldo penalty, his 801st career goal. That's ridiculous. Palace will feel very hard done by following that Leeds defeat, and despite Leeds looking better over the 90 minutes, as I said, there were chances for them to win. But with Manchester United, you just don't know what you're going to get. You don't know what version of Manchester United are going to turn up on the day. With that being said, however, since the sacking of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Manchester United have picked up two very impressive results, a 1-1 draw against Chelsea and obviously the 3-2 win over Arsenal. Compare that to Palace's last two games, which they have lost. Manchester United come into this one slightly on better form. Manchester United will be desperate to try and fix that leaky defence. On average, they concede almost 2 goals a game, which, as I said, is a tally that they're really going to want to try and improve on. And a bit like Manchester United, with Crystal Palace, you just don't know what version of them are going to turn up on the day. The same side that managed to beat Manchester City 2-0 also then go and lose 1-0 to Leeds. That is why the Premier League is so entertaining. You just don't know what's going to happen. I'm going to back Manchester United to win this game though, and I think it will be relatively close. As I said, I do think they are going to win this game though, and I think they're going to win this game 2-1. The last 2 o'clock kickoff that we're going to be looking at from Sunday is Tottenham at home to Norwich, and this game should really be a very comfortable game for Tottenham. Their away record has been shocking, however their home record has been a lot better. Their last 2 Premier League games have been at home, a 2-1 win over Leeds and a fairly convincing 2-0 win against Brentford. Norwich on the other hand, poor start as I say every single week, however in their last 4 games they are unbeaten. Norwich would have felt like they could have won that last game against Newcastle, but unfortunately for them they didn't, and they were only able to manage a 1-1 draw. However, Antonio Conte is slowly but surely filtering in his philosophies to this Spurs side. Harry Kane still hasn't found the back of the net since that goal against Newcastle, which at this stage of the season is his only goal in the Premier League, and it's a tally that he's really going to want to be improving on by the end of the season. It feels like you can already discount him from the Golden Boot race, especially when Mo Salah's already on 13 goals. Focusing back on the fixture though, I do think Tottenham are going to win this game, and I think it is going to be very comfortable for them. Norwich have picked up some great results, but I don't think that they're going to be able to beat a team of the stature of Tottenham. So based on that, I'm going to go for a 3-0 win to Tottenham. If they can find that clinical edge, then there's no reason why they can't score at least 3 goals against Norwich. However, I'm sticking my neck on the line a little bit by going for 3 goals, but I'm going to stick with it. 3-0 to Tottenham. The late kickoff on Sunday is a mid-table clash. It's Aston Villa at home to Leicester. Two sides that are slowly trying to regain their form from last season, but not quite able to do so consistently as of yet. Since Steven Gerrard took over at Aston Villa, he's won 2 out of his 3 games, losing the last game against Manchester City 2-1, which is a very decent result when you look at it on paper. Leicester, on the other hand, still look a shambles. Despite being unbeaten in the last 2 games, they still obviously got smashed 3-0 against Chelsea. That 2-0 loss against Arsenal as well. Struggling against the top sides, but also dropping points against the lowest teams. A 2-2 draw with Southampton, you can't help but feel like it was a great opportunity for them to pick up a win, and they had to come back from behind twice to secure that point. Leicester have won 3 out of their last 4 games against Aston Villa, and Villa winning the other one, so recent history indicates that they are potentially the favourites for this fixture. However, will that be the case going into the game? I'm not so sure, and I think it's going to be a lot closer than that stat suggests. I am going to go for a draw in this game. I can't quite pick a winner between the 2 sides. I think they're very, very evenly matched. You could say that potentially either team could edge it, but as I say, I'm going to go for a draw. I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw. I think there's going to be goals in this one. Both sides are relatively leaky at the back this season, and I think it's going to be quite an entertaining Sunday of football. I'm going to go with 2-2. The last fixture of game week 15 sees Everton go head-to-head with Arsenal, and Everton just looks so poor at the moment. They've lost 4 out of their last 5 games, and at this point, I'm calling it. I think they're going to be outsiders for relegation. It's a poisonous atmosphere at Goodison Park, and the fact that 500 million can build you a squad that poor blows my mind. Obviously, if and when Dominic Calvert-Lewin comes back, that's going to help them massively, but at this point, I think they are going to be facing a relegation battle come the end of the season. Arsenal, on the other hand, have had a fairly decent season so far. They're just struggling against those top teams. And I was watching the kickoff the other day, and True Geordie actually made a really good point. Something along the lines of, Arsenal are a good side. However, it almost just emphasises that gap between the top 3 or 4 clubs and then Arsenal. They are a good side, but they just don't have the quality in their squad at the moment to compete with the likes of Chelsea, Liverpool and Manchester City. Probably the 3 best teams in the world at the moment, or certainly up there. I'm going to keep this one really short and sweet because I think there's only one way that this fixture is going to go, and I think it's got to be an Arsenal win. It's going to be fairly comfortable, and I don't think it's going to be long before Rafa Benitez gets the sack. Anyway, I am going to go for a 2-0 win to Arsenal in this fixture. And I think it's going to be more misery for Everton in this fixture, unfortunately. Right, so that is it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. As always, if you haven't subscribed, as I said at the beginning of the video, please do. I really want to try and get to 500 subscribers by the end of the year. And if you guys can help me do so, I'd really appreciate it. With that being said, though, guys, comment down your predictions as well, so you could potentially win a prize come the end of the season if you make it to the top of the leaderboard. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Peace and love.